Hi friends, have you heard this news that Donald Trump is coming up with a new kind of department, that is Department of Government Efficiency? Most of the people are insinuating it as like an hiring and firing department. They have the right reason also. When you see that people who are in charge of the department like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, people who are too critical about the federal bureaucracy, and the root cause of government inefficiency is the bureaucrats. When they have such stance, obviously they will be like bit negative about the bureaucratic work culture. Let's see how this department might gonna work and whether we could implement similar kind of system in our India. The Department of Government Efficiency would be working on cutting the costs, better utilization of resources, and making sure that you are placing right people at right time at right places. For example, there is a department where 100 people are working and the kind of job can be done by 50 people. So what you're going to do? You're going to fire the 50 people? No. You could relocate them. You could transfer to some other department and give them the proper training, upskilling, upgrading, and train them for the new job. It is unfathomable for Indians to understand that if the government decides to cut down on the jobs, because we heavily depend on government employment, and everybody has this like a secret wish to become a bureaucrat or government employee, because you're going to get a great dividend in India if you are a government employee. People going to treat you with respect. You see that the aim of any politician is to garner more and more votes and to come again into power and hold on to the power, or give it to your family or to your clan or to those who you have nurtured. But when it comes to the Donald Trump, you see that the guy is already 78. At the end of his term, he would be like 82 or 83. So he doesn't have a wish, and there is no chance of he is running again for the presidency. So obviously he wants to create a legacy by disrupting, by bringing changes into the governance, and really want to make American economy flourish again. The problem with the bureaucracy is the lack of accountability. You see that you have employed a driver. At the time of joining, he was pretty good, well behaved, well mannered. He was pretty good at his job. After 3 months or 4 months, he starts to take his job for granted and drives inefficiently, roughly, cuts the lane, doesn't respect the traffic signal, and sometimes starts driving in wrong route so that he could reach home on time. So the obvious tendency of you is to fire that guy, or to ask him to slow down, or ask him to mend his ways. You might try to put some sense into that guy's mind. If he changes, we can retain that person. If he doesn't, obviously he had to lose the job. But when it comes to the government bureaucracy, there is a dearth of accountability. No matter how inefficient you might be, lackluster you might be, there is a safety and security for your profession and your job. Let's take the perspective of bureaucrats. For example, there is a fear of losing job hanging on your head, and the government is forcing you to work more hours and to work in a department which is not suitable or conducive or relevant to you. It is also great disservice. At morning 10 o'clock, you need to log in. If the government is asking you to log in at 10 o'clock, it's not government overreach. It's just a norm. It's just a routine. It's just the way how things should happen. But if government is asking you to come at morning 6 o'clock and stay till 12 o'clock, if you're not going to conform to my orders, I'm going to fire you. That is toxic environment. That is exploitation of an employee's rights. If you are working in a corporate company, obviously you have to submit audits and reports. The things you did on that day, on that week, on that month, you are being accountable to your work. If somebody is there constantly asking you what you have done, ascertaining your performance, there is the scope of you doing your job or being mindful of your job. If I have to give an insight and if I have to give my own suggestion on this Department of Government Efficiency, you see that a lady might be coming to work a bit late. So this propensity and tendency of being late, the higher authorities and the department heads have flagged or sent a memo or ascertained the situation to the authorities or to the concerned department, stating that she is being late every day. So instead of randomly firing her, you could talk to that person. What might be the reason? She might be taking care of a sick child or sick parents or a sick husband, or she might have some other multiple responsibilities that we might not know. So the people who are in charge of these departments needs to have this humane soul and human touch. We could give them another shift or another job role, or we could use that employee in another way so that their skills can be utilized in a productive manner. You see that people might not be able to understand that how hard it is to get another job. Sometimes I have observed people taking great pleasure seeing people fired, being humiliated, or being called all sorts of names. You see that bureaucracy is like the five senses of government. Bureaucracy and government is not different. Bureaucracy is the eyes, ears, and soul of the government. If you have to reach public, you have to organize the outreach program. If you really want to connect, if you really want to serve the people, you need to take the help of bureaucracy. I would like to suggest that in a path of productivity and optimization, do not neglect the well-being of the employees and bureaucrats. Our late Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji said, if I am sending 1 rupee from Delhi, if it reaches to the rural remotest place, to the deserving person, I could ascertain that he is getting only 15 paise of that 1 rupee. You see that all our Indian governments are doing pretty good job. Like one guy had brought this Aadhaar where we could uniquely identify a person, and second that some other person has brought this no frill accounts where you could open a bank account without investing any money. Then government started this DBT, direct benefit transfer programs, where every penny, every paisa sent by the government reaches to the deserving persons. So there is no leakages, there are no loopholes. When you automate, when you cut down the bureaucratic processes, hindrances, unnecessary paperwork, governance becomes smooth. Most of the times when you see the politicians or bureaucrats speaking like we have the single window system, we are creating a path and we are making sure that industrialists, people who wants to take benefits from the government, they could simply go to some single window and apply there and everything will be taken care of. But the ground reality is that behind every single window, there are several windows. The problem with the politicians and the bureaucrats and sometimes even judiciary, whenever you are coming up with some infrastructure work or some new project or something, there is this smoke screen of kickbacks, quid pro quo. You might not be directly getting benefit from the industrialist or that certain person. Your sons and daughters, some relatives, would be getting high paying jobs in their corporations or might be getting a subcontract in those projects. If you really want to bring the change, you need to cut down on the corruption. You need to have this strong political will where you are ready to sacrifice your own share of whatever corrupt loot or kickback that you might have got. If you are really wants to work and make these government processes smooth and more efficient, obviously it can happen when you have strong political will. When it comes to Donald Trump, he doesn't have to worry about the next term or his political fortunes in future. He is minding he wants to curate a legacy, a brand image for himself. So that is the reason he could take such challenging and daunting task. Let me share my own personal experience. 20 years back, I thought of getting two-wheelers driver's license. I have been to this RTO office and tried to apply it for myself. The guy rejected me thrice, saying that your Xerox copies are not correct, or you have put up a signature differently, or your photo doesn't matches. Some kind of rubbish and bullshit, he said. I came to know that the guy is not accepting because I haven't gone through a proper channel, which was a broker. At fourth time, I have approached that broker and paid the money. I didn't have to enter into the RTO office. Everything was done and got my learner's driving license. So this is the reality of our society. If our governments tries to bring similar kind of department of government efficiency, the whole world and the sky is going to fall down on our government. It might not be conducive and great idea for our Indian politicians and governments. Let's hope someday in future we might also get similar kind of doje in our India. Until next time, this is Gautam signing off. Namaste.